Inter Milan, they have had many trophies in the past, but recently they haven't been playing very well. 2 Champions League losses in 3 years. One was a 1-0 defeat and one was a 5-0 defeat. They definitely need improving, and they just lost the league by 1 point to Napoli. So I'm going to take over Inter Milan for 10 seasons and see how many trophies they can win. But I'm going to be doing it from the 2025-26 season onwards with new transfers and their new coach, Christian Chivu. The first thing we have to talk about is the rules of this career mode. I'm not going to use the Youth Academy, and I'm going to focus on star talent. So every season I have to spend at least 100 million euros. And also, we're going to now sell the players that we need to sell and buy the players that we need to buy, because that's actually what they've done. The first few players that we have to sell is Mehdi Taremi, Francesco Acerbi, and Bisek. We're gonna put them on the transfer list because they have definitely said that they are going to leave. Another few players that might be sold are Hakan Çalhanoğlu and David Fratesi. So we're gonna put them on the transfer list, but we will be allowed to negotiate with the team. For the first 3 players that I said, we're gonna need to say yes to whatever deal we get. But for these 2 players, we're gonna be able to negotiate. And the final one is Christian Alsani. He might leave, so what we're gonna do is we're not gonna put him on the transfer list, but we have to negotiate with them if we get an offer for him. Okay, 5 of the players that we need to sell have been sold. Hakan Çalhanoğlu and David Fratesi. I was allowed to negotiate for them, so I got as much money as I can out of those. But Acerbi, Bisek, and Taremi, I had to accept them no matter how much money, so I didn't get as much money for them. But in total, we now have about 250 million euros, which is very good because we also need to sign 2 other players. We have to sign Ange Boni, and we have to sign Rasmus Højlund on a loan because they've been linked with Inter with those deals. So first there's Boni, who we pretty much need to sign from Parma, and his contract's expiring, so we might get a good deal on him. But we also need to get Højlund on a loan. We might not be able to get him on a loan though, but we can try. We can't get Rasmus Højlund on a loan, but we are going to buy him, and that's the next best thing. Okay, Jon Boni, the deal is done, and now we have all of the players transferred out and all the players transferred in. So now we need to decide how we're going to set up the team. Now, because we're using Christian Chivu, I did a bit of research, and Chivu likes to play either a 3-5-2 or a 5-3-2, which is already being used here at Inter. Okay, this is what I'm thinking for the first idea. I'm gonna try another idea where we do a 3-5-2 because Chivu also used that a bit at Parma. So we're saying for the strikers, we'll have Martinez and Thuram up top with Boni and Højlund as backups. Then I'm thinking Zielinski and Barella at midfield with Aslani at CDM. I know that he was gonna be sold, but that didn't happen, so we'll keep him in. We're also going to have Darmian at center back with Dumfries, Pavard, Bastoni, and DeMarco all around him, with Ian Sommer in goal. I'm not sure about this strategy, but there's also another that we could use, and that is a 3-5-2 because Chivu also used that as well. Alright, so with the second strategy, DeMarco and Dumfries will be pushed up as mids, and then Barella and Aslani will be used as CDMs, or maybe Zielinski can go in as CDM. No, that won't work. So, yeah, this is how it's all going to look. We're going to try to get Barella and Dumfries to grow into their new positions. And we're going to see how everything else works. Mkhitaryan's career is basically done. I also want to replace Darmian for next year, but we'll buy the replacement next year because we can't buy anyone else in the first season. Okay, our final match of the season has been played, and let's see where we are in the league. And we're second again to AC Milan. Where did we go in the Super Cup? We won the Super Cup, so that's our first trophy. What about the Coppa Italia? Not that. Champions League? We didn't do that. We didn't win that. Where were we? We got knocked out by Marseille in the playoffs of the Champions League. So yeah, not the best season. We won the Super Cup. But other than that, not much happened. Let's see the team. So the team is looking like this. Barella managed to grow into his position, but Dumfries hasn't. Pavard went up by 1, I think. Darmian really went down in his overall, so we're gonna buy a replacement. Aslani, I think, stayed in his overall. DeMarco too. Zielinski as well. Thuram and Martinez as well. And Sommer really went down in his overall, so not that much growth. Bonnie and Hoyland didn't grow at all. Mkhitaryan is retiring. Darmian is retiring. So we need to buy some new players for next season. Here we are in the new season, and I'm noticing that we need changes in the center back position, and we also need some squad depth. I think we can sell Marcus Thuram as well. We need the money, and maybe we might even sell Martinez because Bonnie and Hoyland are here, and they can make a difference in our squad. We could have Cetriano as a backup, and yeah. We also we have a backup winger. We have a backup CDM, but he's not the best. What we need is a few backup transfers. Okay, I think we found the player that we want. Is Daniel Maldini. He will be able to replace our current cam because he is getting a bit older. Zielinski, yeah, he's in his 30s. So maybe Maldini will be able to replace him in the next season. Oh, but he won't be able to join us because he plays for a rival club. Okay, I'm going to try again, but this time with Nico Paz. He's younger and higher rated than Maldini, and this time I will be able to buy him. And now we have Nico Paz as a backup player, and who'll soon overtake Zielinski for the cam position. What I'm also thinking is getting a new center back, because we only have a 73 rated center back. And maybe getting a new CDM as an Aslani replacement. So I think since we have a lot of money and this is Inter Milan, I'm saying that we get two really good players, but also some really experienced ones, like Antonio Rudiger from Real Madrid. He is getting kind of older, but we'll see how that goes. There's also Jonathan Tah, who might do pretty well with us. He's the same rating as Rudiger, but a lot younger. And also for the CDM position, someone who can play in that CDM role, but can also dribble. I'm thinking of Ismail Benacer. I think he will be able to sign for us. And also, if he won't sign for us, then maybe we could sign Nico Gonzalez from Manchester City. So my first option for the center back will probably be Jonathan Tah, because he's younger than Rudiger and he's more of a modern center back. Yep, Jonathan Tah from Germany over here to Italy. I think it will work for him. And for the CDM, I think I want Ismail Benacer, because he's more of an all-round player, and he has the technical play style and some of the passing play styles. He's also a lot less expensive. We might be able to get him for, I'm gonna guess, like 38 million. That's enough to convince Ismail Benacer to come here from Nottingham Forest. Okay, I like the look of this team. I like how I think every single player now is over 80 rated. Oh, except for Yon Bani. So I think we're done with the transfers. So after I sell Thuram and Martinez, because they don't really have a future here, I'm going to simulate through another season. Actually, I don't think that we're done with the transfers yet, because Sommer is getting pretty old. I don't think that Martinez will be able to replace him next year. His contract is expiring after next year, and I think he's going to retire. So I think another goalkeeper will be good too. Okay, I made my decision, and that is Lucas Chevalier. I really like him, and I know that he's just going to immediately replace Sommer. So that's probably is what's going to happen. And I wasn't originally going to want to sign him, but when I found out that Chelsea want to sign him, I realized that I should probably move quick, because Chelsea are looking to sign him. So I don't really have enough money to afford him, but if I give them Marcus Thuram and then an extra 40 million euros, I think that, that definitely works. Okay, we got Lucas Chevalier, and in the process we've been able to get rid of Marcus Thuram. So now all we have to do is sell Martinez. Season 2 is done, And for the second time, we didn't win the league. We got third. At least we got Champions League for next year. In the Super Cup, we won again. In the Coppa Italia, that was Napoli. And in the Champions League, we got 12th in the table. And then we got knocked out by Monaco in the playoffs. So, not doing so well in the first few seasons. Okay, this is what the squad looks like. Bonnie went up and is overall by 2. So did Hoyland. Zielinski stayed the same, but Paz is now higher rated than him. So he's going to be our new cam. Denzel Dumfries is now a right midfielder, and he's 83 rated. DeMarco went up by 1. I think Benacer went up by 1. Barella went up. So did Pavard, Bastoni, and Ta. Chevalier stayed the same. And yeah, growth is good. But Sommer went down to an 80, which isn't really surprising because now I think he's 38. But let's look at the stats. Who has the most goals? And it's Rasmus Højlund with 30. Bonnie has 19. That's not bad. The most assists is Nico Paz, so he definitely got game time over Zielinski. He did, I think. Oh, let's look at them. Paz got 48 games and Zielinski got 32. So Nico Paz definitely played more than Zielinski. So our team now looks like this with Christian Chivu's 3-5-2 formation. And yep. Okay, season 3 now. And this is what the team looks like. We've got 2 89 rated players, one player below 80, and that's Bonnie, but I think he will go up this year. We've got everyone else doing pretty well. We've got a good bench, except Sommer is probably going to be replaced by either Martinez or Stankovic next year because his contract is expiring, and I'm going to let it expire. Here, a lot of other contracts are expiring, and I'm going to let them expire because players are eventually going to leave. There's going to be Aslani, Cetriano, Carlos Augusto, Tejan Buchanan, Zeno Van Houten, Piotr Zielinski, and Jan Sommer, and I think some others, or no. So that means no one in the first team, but we are gonna need a better bench. And yep, so we're gonna sign some more players for the bench. And the player that I want to sign is Luca Langoni from New England. He's 25 years old, 77 rated. He might overtake Denzel Dumfries for the right mid spot, and he's only really gonna be like 15 or 16 million euros. I say that that's a really good deal. And there we go. We got Luca Langoni. I think that he's a really good player, and I think that he will be very good for us in the future too. Alright, we're putting Langoni on the bench. Hope that he gets a lot of game time. He can play basically on either side. He could also play at striker if he wanted to. I think that's a good deal. And we're also gonna want to have a better backup cam, or another backup cam, because Zielinski is leaving at the end of the year. So I'm saying maybe a swap deal with Zielinski could work. Okay, I found a player that might work, and that is Justin Kluivert. His contract is expiring, so that would work. And Justin Kluivert to enter. So let's put him in the team. Maybe instead of Zielinski, and I could sell Zielinski for some money. Alright, Zielinski's on the transfer list, and I think we have enough money to make one last transfer, and that is for the CDM position, because Benacer isn't really growing, and maybe getting a world-class CDM would be good. Okay, I think my decision is that I want to sign Moises Caicedo because he's the youngest out of all of them and he's pretty high rated. And I think he could do well in the Serie A. And he's in Moises Caicedo. Okay, this is what the team looks like now. And now I think we can win the Champions League. So let's simulate another season. Okay, season 3 is done. And let's see where we ended up in the league. And we won it. We won it. We won the league by 17 points, which I think is a lot. We finally won the league. What do we do in other competitions? In the Super Cup, we won again for the 3rd time in a row. Coppa Italia, we won that too. And Champions League is not us. And we won the league. Let's see who had the most goals and the most assists and all that. Justin Kluivert had the most goals, really surprisingly, and the most assists. That's really surprising. Did he get more game time than Paz? It looks like he did. For some reason, somehow he got a lot more game time than Nico Paz, who isn't happy about that. Who's worth more money? Because it's Nico Paz. I think we could sell Nico Paz because it looks like Kluivert is playing a lot better anyway. And he really hasn't been... Yeah, he submitted a transfer request anyway. So it looks like next year, Justin Kluivert is going to be our cam instead of Nico Paz, which is really surprising. And we have a bus celebration because we won the league with the Coppa Italia. Inter Milan are finally back to their title winning days, and now let's see if we can win the Champions League. Okay, we're finally in season 4, and some contracts are expiring, like Zielinski's, he's expired. Denzel Dumfries, his contract is also expiring, and a lot of others who I will re-sign. Maybe our 2 strikers will re-sign, but I'm thinking of selling both of them and going all in on strikers. Well, Manchester City want Nico Paz, which is interesting because do they have any good strikers? They do. They have Erling Haaland, but they won't be willing to sell him or really anyone else. So I think maybe if they just give us cash, like 71 million euros, and they're looking to do that, 71 million euros for Nico Paz. I like that. And yeah, you know all that. This is what the team looks like. We're gonna sell Højlund and Bonnie. We're looking to keep all the other players in here. including Dumfries, actually. Langoni has grown a lot, but not really enough. Actually, we need a backup striker, or we could just keep Højlund as a backup striker and then get 2 new strikers by selling Bonnie as well. So I'm actually going to try to find 2 new good strikers. I think a striker that we could get is Kylian Mbappe because his contract is expiring and we could get him for like 135 million euros. So let's try that. 140. Now his wage is almost €1 million per week. That's insane. Real Madrid just with all their money they could just. And if I try doing that, then that would. I can't do like €1 million per week, but it looks like I'm gonna have to. That's worth €50 million in transfer salary. So we got Mbappe, but that's so much money. So now we have 4 players that are 90 rated and over, but I'm not done there. I also want to sell either Bonnie or Højlund, just like whoever is more expensive. So, and it's gonna be Rasmus Højlund. So I'm gonna sell him and then get another striker. Okay, what if we got Victor Boniface? Because we can definitely afford him if we put in Rasmus Højlund into the deal. Yeah. So we got Mbappe and Boniface. And now we're gonna simulate another season. If we're lucky, we might even be able to win the treble. Okay, we have 1 game left in the league, and I stopped it with 1 game left because I want to check everything else before we finish the season. So these are what the player ratings look like. Denzel Dumfries went down. Langoni didn't go up enough though to overtake his spot though, which is a little disappointing. We lost a lot of our squad for some reason. But Bastoni 91, Ta 90, Pavard 86, Chevalier 89, Barella 91, Caicedo 90, Kluivert 84, which is pretty good, DeMarco 88, Mbappe stayed at a 93, and Victor Boniface at an 88. Let's also see our top scorers and top assister. I think it's gonna be Justin Kluivert again or Mbappe. And yep, it's Mbappe, and then Barella, and then Kluivert. The one with the most assists, though, was also Mbappe. Surprisingly, Victor Boniface didn't do too well. But let's see what happened in the league. We have 1 game left, but we're easily going to win it. In the Super Cup, we're winning that as well. In the Coppa Italia, that was Fiorentina. And in the Champions League, we got 2nd in the table. In the playoffs, we didn't play in that. In the round of 16, we beat Genk. But we lost in the quarterfinals to PSG. Wow. That's so disappointing. I thought we were going to win it. I honestly thought that we were going to win it. And, oh, at least we got player of the season as well. Who is this? Who is that? Player of the season was Mbappe. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, this video is getting really long, so there is going to be a part 2 to it, and I guess I'll see you next time.